So we're headed up to Alexandria, Virginia for a residential investigation here this afternoon. And we're about an hour or so out. And I gotta say, it's a little strange because it was about 73 degrees yesterday.
Yes.
And today it is a wintry mix. It looks like a little bit of sleet, a little bit of snow. I don't know, maybe there's some rain in there somewhere too. But as I stuck my hand out the window, for whatever reason I did that, it definitely felt like there was some ice in there, or some sleet. But we have an interesting thing going on here because we're going up to Alexandria for a return investigation. And then we're going out to White Post, Virginia,
which is out near Winchester.
Out near Winchester, where they're also calling for some snow.
Right.
So we'll see what happens, a couple inches maybe, I don't know. But we'll keep you updated what goes on along the way. So on the way, on the road up here to Alexandria, we got another call, and once again, I'm not sure if at these investigations we're going to be allowed to release the video or much information about them. It all depends on the clients when we get there, what they're allowing us to release. But we got another call to a residential location in Cold Harbor Battlefield. They actually live like on the battlefield, and the activity has kicked up so much there that the woman has left the house, and it followed her out into her car. So, providing they allow us to stop by late tonight after we leave Winchester in the wee hours of the morning, we're going to be stopping by this location at Cold Harbor Battlefield to see what's going on there. It sounds like a lot of activity has kicked up.
It does, yeah. Yeah, and it's a rare opportunity. You usually don't get to investigate a house on Cold Harbor Battlefield, or on any battlefield.
Right.
Yeah. And so we're kind of excited about that, and just, hoping that perhaps it'll pan out. If not tonight, perhaps another night.
Perhaps, and so stay tuned for a window on the life of a ghost hunter, foul weather, and possibly some foul spirits ahead. So here we are in Alexandria, walking down the street, and you can't tell from the video, but the snow is falling. It's falling pretty good, and we had to park a couple blocks away because the parallel parking was limited. There was like one spot, but I couldn't get into that one, so we had to go down a little bit. But nonetheless, we made it. So where you at, Linda?
Right here.
What do you think about the trip up here on 95, huh?
I think it sucks. The whole Northern Virginia thing just doesn't appeal to me. Too much traffic, too many people everywhere. But I mean, that's just me. A lot of people love it. And Alexandria is certainly a beautiful city.
It is very historic.
A lot of history here, yeah. Mm-hmm. If you ever get a chance to come up here and take a look, just to walk around as tourists for a little while, it's well worth it. Beautiful, beautiful city, lots of attractions, lots of haunted places in Alexandria. Yes, so we kind of like that too.
Byways or bylines.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're here. Let's go see what's going on. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start off with a baseline EMF sweep around the house, just to see what the levels are. If there's any change throughout the investigation, we'll know there's something that was here that wasn't there at the baseline sweep. Moni's in there setting up the connects in a new area that we didn't really investigate that room last time we were here. But this time, the occupant of the home said that when she was in there on the couch, something had brushed her hair, like flicked her hair while she was on the couch in there. So that's one place we're going to observe. We're going to go ahead and start this thing up here. This is the sensor on this one, and I'll be able to get my reading on the screen here. So I'm just going to go around the entire level here, and we sweep up and down the walls, across any door frames, everything. We want to know where the wiring is. Certain wiring will put off high levels of EMF. Now, there has been instances where the wiring has not put off any EMF, and I believe that's due to exceptionally good wiring, where it doesn't put off anything. And this is another location where actually it's pretty good because the outlets, I'm right up on the outlet and it barely moves the needle. So some good wiring here as well. We know that a lot of the spikes are not going to be given off by the electricity. That's a different story. Sometimes objects as well. Now this is clearly coming from the plate here. It's solid, it's consistent, it's not there and then gone. When we look for paranormal spikes, we look for ones that are there 1 minute and then gone the next. That could also be, there are some natural explanations for those too, which is why we look for the secondary evidence. But in one like this where it's constant, it's clearly coming from this panel here. Sometimes objects that are believed to be haunted will produce an EMF field. What we try to do is scan any objects that look antique, or if the haunting is associated with a particular object, we'll go ahead and we'll sweep over that as well to see if that's giving off any fields. Mirrors are another thing that sometimes seem to hold energy. There's been a couple cases where mediums have come in and believed that the mirror, or a particular mirror, it's not all the mirrors, but a particular mirror had acted as a portal. So there was a particular case, I remember, where the people got rid of the mirror, and supposedly the activity ended after that. So we definitely want to keep an eye on the mirrors as well.
All right, it's recording.
All right, so Moni's got the Xbox Connect hooked up to the laptop here, recording this area towards the couch where the occupant of the home was sitting or laying down when something came up and flicked her hair. Now, additionally, what we did here, we're going to do a spirit box session here where we go ahead and Linda's going to put in the earbuds, we're going to ask some questions, see what kind of response we get. But what we also did here is we kind of established a perimeter with EMF detectors. We have one over here, we got one there, and we got one there, so that if anything comes around these detectors, these sensors while we're here, it will go off and it will trigger. So we're going to be listening for any of those to go off as well. Alright, so I'm Jeff. This is Linda here with the spirit box going. And we have
Moni?
Moni over here. We'd like to know, aside from the three of us, is there anybody else here with us? Now, we don't mean to impose by any means, or to be here unwanted. We're not even here to ask you to leave, or anything like that. We just want to know if there is anybody else here with us. If we want to know who's in this room. If there's anybody here, could you please tell us your name?
Are you in this room?
Can you tell us who touched her hair when she was laying on the couch? So, some interesting stuff that just came through the spirit box. And what it said was, it said, Jeff, and then a full sentence, come visit with me. And I said, where? Above. And then I said, where above? And it said, attic. So, this is a little eerie.
And it said all of our names.
It did say all of our names at different times. It got Moni's wrong. It said money, but it said it a couple times. And then it said Linda's name, and then it said my name last. So we're going to go visit in the attic and see if we get any responses up there. Here we go. All right. Take that.
Okay.
Thank you. Alright, so here we are in the attic, and this is the unfinished portion where most of the activity was said to occur. And we do have a stationary camera set up in here, along with the shadow entity detector. And I gotta say, I'm quite out of breath now after walking up all those stairs. What did you want us to come up here for? Can you tell me? And we have some EMF detectors set up. These little devices might let us know if you're here.
Oops, that was me.
Could you touch one of those for us? See if you can get it to light up.
How good does that?
How good does what?
Is that?
You gotta tell me how good is what, so I can give you an answer.
Shirt?
It's a pretty good shirt.
Yeah, they're nice shirts. We
How
all.
good is your shirt?
It's pretty good. Now hopefully you're not do something to it, but it's pretty good. Go ahead, you can tell us whatever you want to tell us. We won't get offended or scared or upset. You can definitely continue with whatever you want to say.
So I have to say I was pretty intrigued by the spirit box session that we held. It seemed to be saying a lot of things, like it would take pieces of different radio stations and piece together all of the words coming through there to form a sentence. And I'd heard this happen once or twice before, but it really is sort of a rare thing to hear entire sentences come out of the box, or perhaps portions of sentences in some cases. It seemed to ask us to come up to the attic and visit with us, I think it said. And I don't know what happened, because once we came up to what would be considered the attic space, its activity seemed to die. We couldn't really hear quite as well as we had downstairs. You could still hear words coming through, but they were a little bit less discernible. So, but very interesting overall.
He said everybody's name.
It did.
At
It
different
did say
points,
everybody's name at different points, yeah. Yeah, and it was really trying to get Jeff up here to visit with it.
Yeah, I mean, that was strange. It did slow down a lot when we came up here.
Yeah, it certainly did. But that lady's creepy voice that said attic downstairs, I was like, ooh, that sent chills through me. That was a little bit creepy.
Something about a bush.
Oh yeah, just a few minutes ago up here, it said under bush. And then it said something like James and
Jeb?
it didn't say Jeff.
No.
It didn't say Jeff.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go down to the next level down below, to the second level, where the washer and dryer are. And it was in this area that she described the other night. She heard what sounded like footsteps. And she thought at first that it was her mom, but then she looked at the clock and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that, at a time long after her mom had finished doing the laundry. So there was something walking around down there in the hallway, or so it sounded, right in front of the washer and dryer. So we're going to go down there now and check it out and see if we can pick anything up.
So we are in the washer and dryer area on the second floor, and here's where she supposedly heard some footsteps going back and forth very, very late at night, when there really wasn't anybody else who was up at that time. So we're going to sit here and perhaps do an EVP session or spirit box session and see if we can get anything.
Right, and we have a EMF detector set down the end of the hallway there at that end, and we have another one set down here at this end so that if anything comes from either end of the hallway, we should be able to, providing it gives off an electromagnetic field, we should be able to detect it.
I'm Moni.
I'm Linda.
$18.
Did he say 18?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good show. So, you know who we are, and perhaps why we're here. But I'd just like to reiterate, we're not here to harm you or hurt you in any way. Can you maybe tell us who you are?
Sorry.
Too much something.
Can you repeat that? We couldn't quite hear it. Too much of what?
He didn't talk to us much up there.
Watched him.
Watched him what?
Three. In the 60s. Maybe weather.
Are you referring to the 60s as far as the weather, or the year, the decade?
Stingray. Did that come
Did
out in the
say-
60s?
It did say Stingray, yes. When you said Stingray, were you referring to the car? If so, what color was it?
It's like it completely stopped. Like just, there was a bunch of voices coming through before. Now there's some things here and there, but it sounds like clips of songs and stuff. Run.
That's not good. It's never good when it tells you to run.
Yeah.
Why should we run? Is there something we should run from?
So we wrapped up upstairs, we're about to close out and wrap up the investigation. Outside of the bedroom where the washer and dryer stood, we got some words that were coming through. They could have very well been words that were on the radio. Some of them were, it's kind of hard to say. I believe it was mostly radio chatter. None of the words seemed to make sense to any of the questions that were being asked. It went dead silent for a little while, and there were no words coming through except just some clips of songs and stuff like that. But nothing that was really relevant there. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up here. We have a lot to review. We have some footage from the attic camera. We have the connects to review. And we're also going to review the recordings to see if, on top of what might have come through the spirit box, we maybe picked up any EVPs on the recording as well. So we've got a big evidence review to do. And we're going to wrap this up, and we're going to roll over to Winchester. More specifically, a place called White Post, where we have another investigation. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to run video of that one or not. If we can, we will.
What's that?
That was ice sliding off the window or someone shoveling the sidewalk.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. But I do detect a sheet stop in the very near future. It is slippery, so we're leaving the location, trudging down the icy streets of Alexandria, where not snow, maybe some snow, but more so a mixture of slush and ice has covered the ground here. And it's going to be an interesting drive out to Winchester.
Yes.
It's not much farther north, I don't believe, but it is significant, a little bit farther west.
A little closer to the mountains, perhaps?
Right, so perhaps a more snowy area.
Right.
I don't know, but
We'll see.
like I said, I'm hoping for a Sheets run in between there. That's where we're hoping to eat dinner. And perhaps RV with a couple more of our members that are going to join us on that next investigation.
Yes. So we had some interesting pieces of audio, but both of them were during spirit box sessions. However, neither of them were actually audio that came through the spirit box itself. These were times when an investigator was speaking and there were other sounds that we picked up in the background. So the first one here is sort of a strange voice that comes through, and it's a quick one.
Connected.
Now it almost sounds like two voices speaking at the same time, but we can't really understand what it's saying, and we can't figure out who would have been saying this. None of the investigators actually reacted to it, so we have no idea what that was. Now the second one, I'll play for you.
Do you need help with something? What do you want us to help you with? How can we help you?
Now I'll play one more time, but this time listen for a sort of a strange hum that comes through during the speaking.
Do you need help with something? What do you want us to help you with? How can we help you?
Now, I was the only other female investigator that was there at the time, besides the one that was speaking, and I certainly wasn't humming, so we can't figure out exactly who this was that was creating this sort of monotone humming sound that was coming through. Very, very strange. Not quite anything we've heard before. Now, in this next clip, it's a little bit longer, but this is one where we're speaking. And this was sort of an interesting one because these were things that did come through the spirit box that were being said. And it's sort of guiding us to a certain point in the house.
What else can you tell us? To let us know that you're here. What else can you say? Let us know how smart you are.
Jeff?
Jeff? So we said everybody's name already.
You did. Visit with me. Well, that's weird. It was like a whole sentence that came from pieces of radio stations.
Visit with you where?
It might have said, come visit with me.
Where?
Above.
Above what?
Tell me this. Oh, this is creepy. Attic. Jeff. It was the one that said attic. And it was whispery, creepy.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
So you can hear my voice being the deeper one in there of the two females, and I'm the one that's actually saying what's coming through the spirit box because I had the earbuds in at the time. So I couldn't hear what was being asked, but there came this sort of flurry of audio, and it was obviously asking us to, or asking Jeff specifically, come visit with me. And when we said, where should we go to visit with you? Then it automatically said above. And at first we were a little confused by this and asked for clarification. And then it said attic. So, which was, like I said in the audio, it was a little bit creepy. But nonetheless, we did go upstairs to see if we could visit with something.
So that was an interesting investigation up there in Alexandria. It was our return investigation, so it was the second time we've investigated that location. And we're hoping to go back again. And both investigations we've done there were during the day, so we're hoping to go back again and do one at night to see if there's any difference in the activity, because a lot of the activity they report does happen at night. Now, I want you to make sure that you subscribe to our channel and tune in to our next video, because after leaving Alexandria, we did manage to get in a sheets run, and then we headed out to White Post, where there was another very interesting investigation, and this trip will be continued in our next video. So don't forget to subscribe and check out our website, vaparanormal.com.